Hey, what's going on today, guys? Today I'm going to stop the procrastinating and actually start wiring up the duster. It's kind of something I've been dragging my feet with, and I feel like it's time to get going on that. In the meantime, my dad, background, he's kind of starting the assembling of the engine. You guys will probably see a video on that later. So this is kind of what we're dealing with. Got a whole schematic drawn out for the car. Made little notes for myself so don't get lost in the process or forget where I'm at. Kind of make check marks as we go. Before, we had a bunch of stuff running through here and it was kind of a mess, but since then we took out the heater core underneath the dash there, and so now we have a lot more access in there, and instead of running across, we have some good openings here. We obviously use some grommets and run through the cart and then pop out. So kind of wiring is going to be kind of slow and kind of like watching paint dry. So probably not going to show all of it, maybe do some time lapses with it, but it's going to be a process and a grind, and it's getting knocked out. All right, so here's kind of an example of how I'm going about this. Got my wire and I clamp there just for ease, and then I have it going through the firewall there and running into the car. Now this in particular is for our push button, which then is going to be going to the neutral safety switch, and from there I got to run another wire back out into the starter relay. So this is kind of how I'm going about it, kind of easy. Obviously cut to length what I need, but just one of those main rules too of long is never wrong. So I'm going to have the push button's going to go about that area, have it plenty long so I can't end up short and having to re-pull it. So that's kind of how I'm going about it, and I'll show you more later. All right, kind of hard to see, but I made little check marks by everything I got done. I got our main push button, which goes our neutral safety switch, the relay. Got the main dash power. Right now I'm working on the fuel relay, but kind of don't understand that. It's kind of show I'm just kind of running the wires, but all of them come through there. I'll have them all labeled. They'll all go to the fuse panel, and then from the inside of the car, you can see I have them all labeled, what's going to what, and I pulled them long enough to get to here where our switches are going to be. It's pretty simple, just trying to figure it out where all I want them to go. So far so good, but with the fuel relay, the wire is not long enough currently on it, because we ran it from the engine bay before. And if I can show you, so this is the wire before on the relay that went to the fuse panel, we ran it pretty much from here across, but now we're going in, over, and down. It's not long enough, so I'm pretty much gonna pull that off, rerun that, and that's the only thing I really got to rerun for the fuel. And I can show you what that looks like it's done. I'm gonna need to get a grommet to put in there so it doesn't tear up the wire. All right, after looking into it more, I was originally just gonna put a big grommet here, just so it covered up the hole. But because we have to cover up this hole anyways, I'm just gonna make one big cover plate there, and we're gonna be using this grommet here because we're only need 14 wires to go through it, and being a firewall, you kind of want it sealed. So I'm gonna show you how I'm making a cover plate here. So I got the grommet there, and pretty much the wire for the fuel relay is going through there, and then the wire for the trans fan to the switch is going to be going through there. So what I have is some of this thin cardboard, or you almost see like paper, and kind of draw it out over that area, and then show you how we transfer that to metal. All right, from a little work of tape measure and my cardboard, kind of have a baseline where I want it. You can see it kind of covers where I want, and I got the slope in there, so it should sit, you know, pretty flush and level. Now I'm going to show you how we take it over to the bandsaw and actually cut it up a piece of metal to get to where we want. All right, over here at our cutting station, we have a DeWalt Portaband we're going to be using with this bench. Took my piece of cardboard, laid over a piece of thin sheet metal. Like I said, we're using a Portaband. You know, if you don't have one, use hand shears, or if you have a different way of cutting it, you can. I traced it out, and hopefully it's perfect. Otherwise, we'll have to make some little adjustments. And then after we get that cut, lay it over our spot that we're going to be covering, and kind of mark out where I want the hole to be for the grommet so we can run our wires through. But pretty simple process. I'll show you cutting it and how easy it is. Like I said, we got that Portaband, but whether you're using a grinder, cutting wheel, or just hand shears, it all works. All right, so we didn't plan ahead very well going into the Portaband, so we couldn't cut all the way around, but I got a good chunk of it. So I bent it over and just used some shears to get, you know, quick and dirty cut there. And now I'll just take off the remainder of that with the Portaband so it's a cleaner cut. All right, still got to clean it up, but I have my spot marked out where I'm going to want my hole for my grommet, because I want to clean up these edges so they're not sharp, so I'm not, you know, scraping my arm up or hand every time I'm in here working on it. While I'm in there, clean up the hole after I get it drilled, because we got a pretty small grommet we're going to be using. As of right now, we're only running 2 number 14s through it, and you know, if something is going through there in the future, let her just redo it, pull the wires back out. If you need to, just drill a bigger hole and put a new grommet in there, because like being a firewall, you want it pretty sealed off. So I'm gonna go use the grinder and clean up those edges and get it looking nice. All right, guys, here's the finished product. Drill the hole with our step bit here, just big enough so it fits in there and won't fall out, and it sits pretty good. The grommet's right over the hole there where we want to run some wire. The edges are all cleaned up, so they're not gonna, you know, cut anybody open. Now I can get back to running some wire. Also failed to mention, we are going to be running self-tapping screws through here to hold it in place. I just used a small drill bit to kind of get them going so it all sits in the right spot, and then ran the screws in the rest of the way, and it's pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. So now I can run a couple wires through that hole there. All right, we've got our wires through there. They want, one of them is going to the switch that's going to be in the car for the transmission cooler. The other one is for the fuel relay. And it's kind of hard to see where they run through here, but they run up out of there. They're going to be landing, or one actually is going to be going to the fuse panel. The other one is going to be landing right where our switches are. So pretty much the whole front half of the car is wired up, or at least the wires ran there. Now I gotta work on the transmission fan cooler in the back, because before we had a fuse up front. We're running wires back and forth, but we're just gonna move it all to the back. Okay, once I get on, I can kind of show you how that's gonna happen. But yeah, everything's all in there. Just needs landed and terminated and everything. All right, so for both four in the car, we had a switch, which we still do, but we either had the transmission cooler on or off. So we never really knew when we needed it on or off or how hot it was. So now the one wire that I have up front is coming down and landing on the sensor here. And so when we get in the car, we'll flip it on, but the cooler will not turn on until it hits the specific temperature that this is set at. And then this is running to a relay. So pretty much, this red wire here was what we wired it up to before, but that's getting cut out and used at the sensor. And then the weather pack that we have here, the black and the blue, is going to the relay. So kind of redo a little bit of stuff under here. Yeah, I already showed you guys how we're using the weather packs to make a lot of these connections. If you haven't seen that, go back and check out that video. But yeah, it's gonna probably take a few more hours of just making up connections, and I'll update you on those as we go. All right, guys, it's actually been a few days now, and I haven't touched the car a whole lot. But since I think the last clip you saw, added more wire, moved things around more, and I honestly forgot a lot of stuff, so got it added. Got wires moved around. I think one of these for tax signal, signal for the fuel pressure. What else we got? So now I'm in the process of, as you can see, I got my weather pack there, of starting to try to get the switches done, the fuel pressure gauge, and I think there's something else in there, but see kind of the rat's nest I got going on in there, and hopefully that'll get finished up here pretty soon. But not showing a whole lot, just gonna take time, but it is what it is. Let's get to work. I really wish there was more I could be showing you, but doing electrical is kind of like watching paint dry. I said before. I got my master, my transmission fan, and my fuel pump switch all wired up, and they'll be sitting right back in there like they were last season. This will be the push button start's gonna go, which I think I'm gonna be working on that next. But I gotta stand up and stretch a little bit. It's kind of cramped in that little area. You know, small A bodies are not a lot of room. Very uncomfortable spot, but I'm probably gonna clean up all the wire underneath and get everything kind of more tightened down after it's all made up. Then I can run it all a lot more clean instead of zip tying everything down and then figuring out that you missed something like I have been and have to redo it. So kind of leaving it long. There's a lot of space under there now since we got rid of the heater core. And yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to clean it up pretty well when the job is done. All right, since I mostly have those switches done, there's a little bit in there I could do and tidy up and whatnot. But another thing that needs done is we need a wire, number 8 in particular, ran from our battery kill switch up to our alternator, because as of right now we do not have one, and that's just another one of those safety things. So I found a route that I want to take just trust me, there's a hole down there that I'm going to run through. And then run it through back in there. We're going to patch that up a little bit better. Now I could run along that edge there. There is a spot to run wire, but for the sake of keeping it all on the same side, I'm going to do that. You can see it there. There is these little tabs. They're all over the car and right here, and then they're under the hood. I want to run it up through the front of the firewall and through here, because I already got to make a patch anyways. So right now I'm in the process of making that patch. I kind of have it drawn out on the paper cardboard stuff and kind of sitting there like that. Mark out where I got to mark it out on the metal. And then after I mark it out on the metal, go and cut it and then drill my hole that I want to use for getting that wire through there in the grommet. I'm a little burnt out right now, but just one of those things I'm just trying to push and get this done. I don't know. All right, patch panel made. I got my new, one of the wires ran through it. This is coming from the fuel switch. We're gonna run it there, but this one's closer and I think it's gonna work better for the alternator wire too. Got it pulled through. Walk around everything. Obviously not perfect at this moment, but pretty much gonna start up there and kind of work its way back to secure it in place. Kind of making everything long, but really need to, just in case. You never know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna work on getting this wire strapped back. See, I got the wire pretty good and ran back. It's into here. Got to route it a little bit better. The hole I was going to use didn't end up working like I thought it would. So, got to decide if I want to try to utilize a hole that's kind of an area but it's not great, or run across to the other side of the trunk. That would just require a lot more wire, and I don't even know if the path's any better. So I'm kind of at a stalling point because I really don't want to drill another hole in the trunk, but I'll let my dad help me make that decision on that. But yeah, I think I'm calling it a night. Didn't get as far as I wanted to. Got a lot done though. Sorry, there's not a lot more action in this video. You know, that's kind of how building a race car is. It's not all fun and games all the time. It is a lot of fun most of the time, but when it just kind of gets in this small detail stuff and make sure everything's right, it just not really fun. It's just something you got to get done and make sure it's right so you don't have to redo it or there's a issue later. But should be having another video out here soon on the engine. Starting to come together pretty well. So yeah, if you guys like what you see, appreciate hit that subscribe button. We're about just over 300 subscribers under 500 goal for the No Name Nationals. Yeah, hit that. Also hit the like button, and catch you guys in the next one.